In 1969, Lou Piniella was 26 years old, came up to the Kansas City Royals, hit .282, and was the Rookie of the Year. 15 years later, it's a Thursday night this week. The Yankees are in Fenway Park, Boston, and Piniella says goodbye. And the only way he knows how. 3 hits, 3 runs scored, a runner thrown out. And today at Yankee Stadium, Lou Piniella says goodbye on the NBC Game of the Week. NBC Sports presents Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today from Yankee Stadium, the Baltimore Orioles versus the New York Yankees. The game of the week. Temperatures ideal, 75 to 80 degrees. It'll be Scott McGregor going against Jay Howell, and it is indeed the day that Lou Piniella called it a career. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola, and I'm sure the emotions really will be high here today.
They will be high, and it's tough to figure out what they will be, because when you come to the big leagues, you think you're going to play forever. But in my mind, what keeps running around, Vin, is why now? Usually it's the end of the season or even spring training, but why now?
Well, now, Lou Piniella was asked that question once. He said, I have a rotator cuff injury. The doctors say I either have surgery or I go on a 90-day weightlifting rehabilitation program, and I'm 40 years old. It's not worth it. So that's why now, because I can't make contributions to the ball club.
Yeah, but they got the designated hitter over here, and Piniella was never known to bring his glove to the ballpark. They always wanted his bat. I feel there's something more. Maybe the next Yankee manager. We'll ask and find out. I don't know.
Yeah, during the ball game, not only will we find out about the Birds and the Yankees, we'll explore what's in store for Lou Piniella. So we'll have more, all coming up, starting lineups, pregame stats and stories right after this.
Offensively, there are the Yankees, and the man of the hour will be in left field, Lou Piniella. Omar Moreno is in center field. Winfield will be in right field. Toby Harrah is at third base. Bobby Meacham, they just brought him up. Andre Robertson back down to Columbus. Meacham will be at shortstop. Willie Randolph will be at second base, and Don Mattingly is at first base. Take a good look at that youngster. He is really hitting the ball hard. Practically an unknown, not even on the All-Star ballot. Have to be a write-in vote if he does make it. And behind the plate is Butch Weiniger. On the mound is Jay Howell, and no trick pitches with him. Fastball, slider, and a change of pace. A good fastball.
Jay Howell coming out of the bullpen and making his first start of the year. His one victory, he's 1-4. The victory was against Milwaukee. It also points up a problem here in New York, because Jay Howell becomes the 9th different starter used by Yogi. But of course, all you have to do is go back to last year. The Oakland A's used 16 different starters during the course of the year and a burned out pitching staff. So it's a tip-off. One of the problems here, that Howell is pressed into service. He's a big guy. He's 6'3", 205-pounder out of Colorado. His brother was drafted by the New England Patriots, so athletes run in the family.
About why retiring now. We asked him a lot of questions, but here's his answer to that one.
Well, I left spring training with a badly bruised left shoulder. It was sore. I had a lot of problems with it this spring. I've had it diagnosed just recently as a torn rotator cuff. It's been giving me a lot of aggravation and a lot of pain. I'm not available to pinch hit every day for Yogi on the bench, and I figured it's time to step aside and let some young people come in here.
Lou Piniella, who broke in with Kansas City wearing number 9 and will hang him up today wearing number 14.
Just to amplify that, it is his left shoulder, so it hurts him when he swings the bat. He says defensively it doesn't make any difference.
And, of course, that answered the question that you and I talked about. Why now? He could be a DH, and he says he couldn't.
Right.
Well, let's see. There's a good 30,000 here, I would assume. And they gave Piniella a standing ovation and a loud Lou as he hung him up. We have a chance to visit for the moment. I was asking Yogi Berra if he remembered the last game he ever played, and Yogi, in typical fashion, said, yes, I struck out 3 times. It was against Tony Cloninger. I asked Joe Altobelli if he remembered his, and he said no. He said, I don't even remember my first at-bat in the big leagues. But Altobelli said he did remember, since he was a Detroit boy, the first time he ever came to Detroit. He had a single, a double, a home run, and 4 RBIs and 5 at-bats. And when he came out, his father said, what happened on the other 2 at-bats? Typical father.
Typical.
What about you? Do you remember your last game?
I remember it. I was with the Giants against the Phillies, and it's quite a story, and I'm going to tell you.
I hope. I want to hear it.
On my last day as an active player for the New York Yankees, it is my privilege to give the Yankee starting lineup. Leading off, playing second base, Willie Randolph. Our catcher, Butch Weiniger, is hitting second. Dave Winfield, playing right field, hitting third. Don Baylor, our designated hitter, hitting fourth. Myself, Lou Piniella, playing left field, hitting fifth. Toby Harrah, third base, hitting sixth. Don Mattingly, playing first base, hitting seventh. Omar Moreno in center field, hitting eighth. And Bobby Meacham, our shortstop, hitting ninth.
Defensively, John Lowenstein is in left field. Bumbry in center field. This is a good ballpark for Bumbry. He can roam high, wide, and handsome, and he will. Young is in right field, and the infield, Gross is at third. Cal Ripken is at shortstop. Rich Dower is the second baseman. Eddie Murray at first base, and Rick Dempsey behind the plate, and Scotty McGregor is the pitcher. When you talk to Dempsey about McGregor, the one word he uses is he's so consistent again this year. Consistent.
He's remarkable, and look at the strikeouts. He has only 31 strikeouts in 101 innings, so he's averaging really less than 3 strikeouts a game. In fact, oddly enough, his high, he had 5 strikeouts against Milwaukee, and then he had 4 consecutive starts where he didn't strike out anybody. He began the year 1-3 in April, turned it completely around. He is 7-1 since then. His only loss, Detroit bombed him 14-2. But if it is McGregor, you would expect no walks, some home runs, low-scoring game, and no wild pitches. He hadn't made a wild pitch in 2 years, just to give you an idea of his control. All right, Willie Randolph will start it off, and now that Lou Piniella is calling it a career, starting tomorrow, Willie Randolph will be the senior Yankee in point of service. He takes ball 1. Show you the attrition here in the Bronx. Only Randolph and Guidry starting tomorrow. Will be the only Yankees left from the '78 championship team. Bangs it to right, and Young is going to have to play it on a hop. So Randolph, who was hitting .295, begins the game with a base hit against Scotty McGregor, and Butch Weiniger will be coming up.
With McGregor's control, has been pointed out, you can look for anything with Randolph on first base. You've got a good combination going. Weiniger can handle that bat. And if Yogi wants to start something early, he's got the situation.
Interesting thing about McGregor, and it really came to the head in the World Series when he pitched against Philadelphia. High, ball 1. McGregor warmed up before the game, and he couldn't throw a curveball down in the bullpen. So he came in and he said, I don't have a curve. And he pitched the entire game and beat the Phillies with fastballs and changes, nothing else. You talk about you can't win with one pitch in this league. 1-0. Looked like he turned that over. Ball 2.
As you watch McGregor pitch, one of the things that he has is body rhythm, and a lot of the hitters will follow that body and not really bear down on that concentration, use the concentration at the point of release, and they can throw you off.
2-0.
What I mean by that, Ben, is Louis Tiant, for example, a lot of guys would hit at his elbow or his head. You know, it would be distracting.
Stu Miller, same thing.
Miller, same way. Now, McGregor, he'll not give you the same body rhythm with every pitch. He'll vary it.
3-0 the count. Strike. Which would seem to me to be contrary to a control pitcher. You would think a control pitcher would have to stay in the groove.
You watch him, though, it looks like when he gets at the peak of his delivery, sometimes he'll come at you fast, and other times a little slower and a little slower. And if you fall into a pattern where you follow that body as opposed to that point of release, you're in deep trouble.
3-1 to count to Butch Weiniger with a 14-game hitting streak. And he fists one foul outside of third. Let's take a look at that motion, Joe.
Watch him at the top now. You're bearing down, and here's about where you really pick it up now. He comes right at you. And that was in slow motion, and I'm sure a lot of hitters would like to get to the fine-tuning knob and do that to him live, but you simply can't.
One thing, you don't have running teams in this game. Neither team runs very well. 3-2, they're playing run and hit. And there's a line drive, base hit to left. Lowenstein hustles it back in, and stopping at second is Randolph. So Weiniger now has the longest hitting streak of his career. He has hit in 15 straight. And you have runners at first and second, nobody out. And Dave Winfield coming up. Winfield, 7 consecutive All-Star games. The big guy with a chance to put it to them. The #1 hitter in the league, pursued by his teammate Don Mattingly. He's hit in 20 of his last 22.
Winfield will hurt you when he's hitting up the middle. If you do have to throw him a fastball, the Baltimore club will keep it inside and try to use the field from the 387 mark all the way around. Where he can really hurt you is to the opposite field.
9th inning last night with a runner to tie at second base. Mike Boddicker made some great breaking balls to strike him out. Well, we'll see what McGregor does. 2 on, nobody out. 0-1. 1-0 to Winfield. Randolph and Weiniger on the base pads. On May the 1st, Berra moved Winfield to center. That made him the Yankees' 5th center fielder of the season, but he's back in right field today, and Moreno's in center. 1-0. Line drive at Ripken, back to Dower, double play. So Dave Winfield hits it on the button, but right at Cal Ripken, and they get a quick 6-4 double play.
That's the kind of line drive that sometimes ends up into that triple play you're talking about. Randolph was in no man's land, and you can see that Dower, he was ready to fire that ball to first base.
So quickly, 2 base hits and then a line drive double play, and here's Don Baylor. Baylor had a strange streak. He's leading the club with 12 home runs. It took him 38 games to have 4, and then he had 4 in the next 5 games. Baylor rough on left-handers, Joe?
He's very rough. Last year he murdered him.
High pop fly, and it'll be Dower squinting up into that bright blue sky. That's a big league play. He needed that glove as well as the glasses. So 2 base hits, but the line drive puts the blocks to it. No runs, 2 hits, a man left. Coming up tomorrow on NBC.
Thank you, Vin. In Oakland, Dave Kingman for the A's, and of course, there it goes. Home run number 17 for Kingman, leading the majors. Number 359 lifetime. That's 1 more than Yogi Berra. 2-0 A's. Back to you, Vin.
Okay, Len, and I assume the plate umpire didn't have garlic on his breath. Remember, Kingman lost 15 games when he was hollering back at the plate umpire, fell and stumbled. Big rip by Singleton. Singleton, we finally had the chance to lay the line on him. You know, he's a designated hitter. He never plays. And he had a glove on in the dugout. Line drive inside the left field line, bouncing off the stands. Piniella going for it. Singleton is going for 2. The throw to Randolph. He's out from me to you. And the chant, Lou. He threw a man out in Boston.
Singleton had no chance. Listen to this crowd, though. What made that play was the carom. Singleton had double on his mind, but he had single in his feet because he had no chance.
So 2 down, and Mike Young coming up. Look at Kenny going in head first, landing gear down to try and cut down the area to tag, but Randolph on a great throw by Piniella, and we have 2 out. We were saying about Singleton sitting with a glove on his hand. There's a line that's going around now. He's the answer to Michael Jackson. He wears a glove on his left hand for no purpose. Here's Mike. Hey, Tell me about your last game.
DeRocher was the manager. I was with the Giants, and pennant had been clinched, and Murray Dixon was pitching. He struck me out with an upriser, a submarine upshoot, and I came back and I said, American Legion roundhouse curve, and Leo said, what was that? I said, American Legion roundhouse curve. I'll get it the next time I get up there.
Line drive to center, charging Moreno, and stopping at second will be Young. Okay, so you came up a second time. So I came up,
bases are loaded, and I'm looking for the submarine rising curveball, and here it comes. And I hit that ball as hard as I could ever hit a ball, right back to Dixon. He throws the first double play. I came back to the bench, and DeRocher says, why don't you keep striking out to keep the inning going?
And that was your last game?
Last
game. At bat?
Last at bat. That's the memory that DeRocher goes to bed with every night. Me hitting into a double play.
Well, it's interesting to see the thoughts, and you know Lou Piniella is souped up out there in left field. What will happen to him? What will destiny give him as a last at bat today? Breaking ball hammered into left field, base hit. Dower to second, he'll hold him as Piniella now stops him at third. So suddenly Howell isn't fooling anybody.
And Piniella suddenly becoming a defensive whiz in this game. He comes up throwing and hits the cutoff man perfectly. And it was a good thing that they stopped him at third.
So Dower is at third, Dempsey at second, Bumbry at first, and Sammy Ellis out to counsel Jay Howell. Well, it is his day, his final day as an active player, and Lou Piniella, leading in the second inning, got a standing ovation from this crowd at Yankee Stadium. Piniella, after all of the dramatics, now steps in. You saw a hand clapping briefly, a picture of his wife Anita, who was here with the Piniella's 3 children and Lou's father. He has 1 home run this year. It was against Tommy John. 1 ball, no strikes. Fisted foul back into the crowd, 1-1. I would think it is. I've seen guys take curtain calls after the fact. It's very hard to take a curtain call before you've done anything.
I don't know that feeling. I used to get those standing O's when they take me out.
The Rookie of the Year in 1969 with the Royals. He's hit 300 or better 6 times. He had 9 consecutive World Series games where he had a base hit. Hits a fly ball to right. Coming over is Mike Young to make the catch. 1 away. Piniella can do no wrong. Not today. Not his final day. So with 1 away, Toby Harrah will be coming up. Lou has been playing professional ball as long as there has been a New York Mets, since 1962. So the run is in, carried in by Bobby Meacham, and Lou Piniella, who is center stage in the spotlight all day, comes up with the bases loaded and 1 out in a 1-1 tie, bottom of the 3rd. Baylor at first, Winfield at second, Randolph at third. 4-1. Piniella flied to right field in the second inning. The other night in Boston, when he announced his retirement, he went 3 for 3, 3 runs scored, threw a man out. A 1-hopper at short. Ripken back to Dower. Dower back to Murray. Too late. The run is over, and it's an RBI for Piniella.
He was really going down that line. He wanted a base hit. You can see that expression. Ripken gives it to Dower in good shape, but Piniella really hustling down the line. Just does beat the play.
And Baylor was giving it his best shot to get in there and bother Dower. They'll put it all together, and the Yankees have scored twice and lead 2-1. Piniella now at first and Winfield at third, and the batter is Toby Harrah.
When I asked Lou Piniella about how did his
Well, they think that if it's good, if I'm happy with it, they're happy for me. And I've played a long time, and I feel very fortunate. And they're going to be here and watch me play my last game, so that's a big thrill for me.
You know, psychologically, Joe, it's an interesting question. When you quit, it's almost like your life is over, almost like you've been thrown on the discard pile. Fouled away. For instance, did you have a problem, the transition from no more ball player, no more youth?
I tell you, it is a very difficult transition, and it's something that ball players need help in, because you're looking at a guy who at least gets his name in the paper every day in the box score, and pretty soon he goes to the supermarket and nobody knows him, and it is a traumatic experience.
0-1.
And I tell you, some ball players, very tough for them to handle it. No, I kid about it. I say there are 3 guys that if they ever call for them, they're going to make a lot of money, but not much call for them. Vikings, Shepherds, and old ball players.
Fouled away by Lou in the count 1-2. He's got Weininger at second and Winfield at first. The way the story is right now, remember, when Piniella hit into a force play in the 3rd inning, the Yankees took the lead 2-1. They now lead 5-1, and it would be a little extra icing on the cake if the Yankees win. And Lou Piniella would then be credited with the game-winning RBI in the last game he ever played. Not a bad touch. Not a bad way to go out. 1-2. Fouled away.
Well, I don't know who that lady was, Vin, but it wasn't his wife.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not, but we gave her national publicity. We'll find his wife.
1-2 to Lou Piniella. 2-2. You would think he'd have chased that pitch, you know, under the tension and the drama. But he was able to hold back. 4-game hitting streak. He's hit in 8 of his last 9. Bill Swaggerty in relief of Scotty McGregor. The best laid plans of mice and men as Piniella strikes out, leaving 2. The Yankees, however, enjoy a 3-run 4th and lead 5-1. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Obviously, this is a day Piniella will remember, but we asked him about another memorable day.
Well, I guess the most memorable bat I can remember about myself is the 4th game of the 1978 World Series. In the 10th inning with 2 outs, I delivered a base hit that won the ball game for the Yankees. I remember that one.
And they will remember him. Piniella. At one time, he hit in 9 consecutive World Series games, all 6 in '78 and 3 in a row in 1981. He's left them with plenty. Ground ball to short, Ripken, and the throw will get him. Now, that might be his last at-bat, maybe. Toby Harrah. It's like following Sir Laurence Olivier.
It's really got to be a tough job for poor old Toby. He wants to go out for the coffee.
Hey, guys, I'm here. I was just thinking, too, looking at that broad back wearing 14. A wonderful human being wore that number here at Yankee Stadium with distinction and with pride. Bill Skowron, the old Moose. 1-2.
Did you ever meet a nicer big man in your life?
No. Ground foul.
Just to love, you go to his old timers game, you see Moose Skowron, Hank Bauer, and Roger Maris in their crew cuts.
Wow. No nonsense looking guys, huh?
Oh, man.
And then there's Lou Piniella. And I think of Lou, he might have the game-winning RBI today. Now, remember that. And you think of, what was that poem by Dylan Thomas? Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light. Well, he raged, and the light is diminishing today on his last day as an active player. The paid attendance to come out and honor Piniella, 37,583. I don't care how tough you are. It's got to be a very heavy moment. Tell you one thing, whatever Baylor does, if Piniella can come up again, we're just going to shut up and let this place dance to its heart's content.
They're ready.
2-0. Line drive, base hit. Here comes Randolph to score. Stopping at second is Winfield. And here comes Piniella. 8-1 Yankees. The best laid plans of mice and men, and Lou Piniella. Life is indeed cruel. No Hollywood script here. His last at-bat grounded into a double play, but he still has the game-winning RBI. And applause from his wife. 8-1 Yankees, end of 8.
Double play was his last time at bat, but I asked him if he had one game that he wished he'd stayed home.
Well, there are a lot of games that I wish I hadn't gotten to the ballpark. I remember one time off of Jim Cotton, Kansas City, when I was at the Royals, hitting the 4 double plays in one ball game.
And they are taking Lou Piniella out so that he can savor the greatest moment of all, The walk off the field, and one last hurrah from this crowd of 37,000. Goodbye, sweet Lou. Thanks for the memories, tears in the eyes of his wife. What a lovely way to finish. Shelby, ball one. For the minutes of the last meeting, let it be duly noted, the new left fielder in virtual anonymity is Steve Kemp. And Kemp has a line drive base hit to handle. Well, we have said goodbye more times today than in Grand Opera. And this one is final. Piniella has left the field, left the dugout, and Mike Armstrong is the new Yankee pitcher. Todd Cruz, the batter. Cruz hit into a double play in the 6th inning. Ball one. 8-1 Yankees. But it is a nice touch as the crowd chants, "We want Lou." He has the game-winning RBI. By this time, he's back in the clubhouse, and the chant still continues, "We want Lou." Fouled away. The executive producer of NBC Sports and the Lou Piniella Show is Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer, Harry Coyle. Fly ball to right center. Moreno signals he has it. True to his word. One away. The telecast of today's game of the week, has been produced by George Finkel. Directed by Andy Rosenberg. Technical director, Bill Tobey. Associate director, Joe Michaels. And Mike Armstrong has one out, a man on in the 9th. Mike just off the DL. Piniella Day at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees win 8-3. Piniella is credited with the game-winning RBI. In a sense, it is the beginning of the end and the end of the beginning, because he is down on the field right now very close to the first base coaching box, which will become his home tomorrow. And let's go there and go to Joe.
Okay, Vin, we're with Lou Piniella and his lovely Anita. Can you possibly describe the emotion?
Joe, I'd like to thank the fans here. They've been so great to me my whole career. I've enjoyed playing here immensely and wearing this uniform with pride. And today I'll remember the rest of my life. But you can see why I retired, though. An 0 for 5. I didn't swing very well, but who cares? We won the ball game, and I went out on a winning note, and I thank my teammates for that.
I'm going to come back to you again, Anita. When you hear that, has to just run chills up and down your spine.
It really does. These people here have been very, very kind to me, and when they chant Lou when I come up to home plate, they've really pumped me up my whole career. And I'm sorry I disappointed them today without getting a base hit, but that's the way it goes. And my God, I'm the happiest guy in the whole world.
We don't think you disappointed anybody. We thank you. Good luck to you, whatever you do, and listen to them. We're going to a message.